The gold is indeed tempting, but I don't like it. So I can't accept the conditions you just mentioned. Dustin shook his head. If you don't like gold, then name your price. Hector raised his chin. Mr. Harmon, forgive me for speaking frankly, but Natasha should decide her marriage herself. As her parent, you shouldn't forcefully interfere with such matters, Dustin said. What? Hector frowned. Are you teaching me how to do things? I'm just speaking the truth. Dustin remained composed. As parents, shouldn't you want your children's marriages to be happy? What do you even know? At this moment, Jessica couldn't hold back any longer. Do you know who Natasha's fiancé is? He is Tyler Grant, a natural-born genius and the future rising star of the Dragon Marsh. Only by marrying him can Natasha have a good future. That should be up to Natasha to decide. If she doesn't want to marry him, you can't force her. Dustin argued reasonably. Are you implying a challenge to the authority of the Harmon family? Hector's expression turned grim. Mr. Harmon, I don't want to be enemies with the Harmon family, but I'm willing to take this risk for Natasha's sake. I'll repeat myself. As long as she doesn't want to marry, no one can force her. Dustin's tone became assertive. What an arrogant youngster. Hector's eyes turned cold. I've tried to speak nicely to you for Natasha's sake, but if you insist on being stubborn, don't blame me for turning my back on you. Dustin, don't provoke my father. It'll bring you no good. Ruth desperately tried to hint at Dustin. Her father was the head of the Harmon family. He wielded great power and was known for his resolute decisions. Although Dustin had some ability, he was clearly far from being able to contend with the Harmon family. Mr. Harmon, you're the one being stubborn, not me. Dustin remained undaunted. Fine. Very well. Upon hearing that, Hector smirked. Young man, you surely are fearless. I'll give you 3 days. If you're willing to leave Millsburg within 3 days, I won't hold it against you. But if you persist in going your way, you'll have to bear the consequences. After saying that, he turned and left. Wait. Dustin suddenly called out. What? Did you change your mind? Hector turned back, his eyes filled with disdain. Dustin were to resist to the end, Hector would hold some respect for him. At least Dustin was a persistent person. However, he would look down on Dustin even more if he gave in just like that. Mr. Harmon, it seems your health is in a bad condition. You probably won't last 3 days. Dustin dropped a bombshell. What are you talking about? Hector furrowed his brow. You have a dark complexion, yellowing pupils, and the breath you exhale carries a hint of a foul odor. If I'm not mistaken, you've been poisoned with voodoo. Dustin said. Nonsense. Hector snorted. Do you think you can scare me just like that? You're underestimating me. Mr. Harmon, I'm sincerely warning you. The voodoo you've been afflicted with is not ordinary. It will inevitably flare up within 3 days, and by then, you might lose your life. Dustin sounded solemn. Stop bullshitting. Hector couldn't bother to argue with him. He directly turned away and left. He could eat and drink normally and could even run and jump. He didn't feel any signs of poisoning. Moreover, his meals were strictly monitored by trusted individuals. It was simply impossible for anyone to poison him. As Hector and the others got into their car, Dustin made no attempt to stop them. Instead, he turned to Ruth and asked, Is your sister being held captive? Where is she now? Can I meet her? Ruth opened her mouth, but Jessica's voice rang out before she could explain. Ruth, what are you waiting for? Let's go home. Coming. Ruth responded and hurriedly said, Dustin, my sister is temporarily safe. She will find a way to contact you. Also, be careful. After saying that, she quickly left.